What's up, guys? Red Wolf here. Welcome back to the NC State Dynasty on College Football 25. It's been a while, but we're back at it today with the Year 1 offseason. The last time we saw the Wolfpack, we were in the national championship game facing off against Georgia. They ended up beating us by a score of 34-24. But what a successful season for this Wolfpack team, making it to the conference championship, winning it for the first time in 45 years, making it to the national championship game against Georgia, and falling short in that game. But what a run it was for Grayson McCall and that Wolfpack offense, Davin Vann and the Wolfpack defense, Aiden White, Sean Brown, all of these guys that contributed this season to a successful run and a great year for the NC State Wolfpack. London Humphreys killed us in that game. He scored those 2 touchdowns. We may have lost that game, but we're heading into today's episode with a positive attitude, looking forward to next year. We're looking for a successful offseason. We need C.J. Bailey to step up, improve, progress once we hit that part of the offseason. And we also need to keep his weapons around him. Hollywood Smothers pictured there, Kendrick Raphael, Noah Rogers, Kevin Concepcion, Justin Jolie, Wesley Grimes, Dakari Collins. These are all guys that can contribute once again heading into next year. What a year for Grayson McCall. Over 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. Jordan Waters finishes with almost 1,400 yards. He only scored 10 touchdowns. Some of those were vultured by Kendrick Raphael, Grayson McCall, and Hollywood Smothers. Grayson McCall in the playoffs and in the conference championship game threw for 1,200 total yards in those 4 games. Threw 10 touchdowns, but he also threw 6 interceptions. Kevin Concepcion had a year for the ages. Over 100 catches, 1,600 yards, 15 receiving touchdowns. He almost broke every single receiving record for the NC State Wolfpack. We're looking for him to have another big year next year. He'll be a junior, and we'll see if we can keep him for year 3 when he's a senior. He might try to declare for the draft, but we'll see what happens when we get there. Devin Boykin and Jahad Carter both had great years in the safety spot. We're going to miss them, but we have some guys that I think could contribute. Brody Barnhart is a freshman who we redshirted this year. He'll be a redshirt freshman next year. He could contribute a lot, especially in that secondary that we're losing a couple guys. Sean Brown was a beast in that linebacking core. Led the team in sacks with 5.5. We do need to produce more sacks next season. I want to see us get more pressure, especially with our defensive line getting after the quarterback. Bunch of different guys recorded interceptions. We forced a lot of turnovers this year. We also had a lot of turnovers ourselves. Grayson McCall threw like 13 interceptions, and I want to reduce that heading into next year. Brandon Sisse played extremely well. 4 interceptions and 10 deflections. It seems like the opposing teams threw his way often, and it didn't work out great. I do wish this catches allowed feature worked. I wish we could see how many catches each guy allowed, but that might be kind of tough for that to work correctly. Overall, a heck of a year. Good year for this Wolfpack defense, a great year for the Wolfpack offense, and it produced a winning season. And as we head through the schedule, we're going to look at this Tennessee game. This is one I'd like to have back, leading, heading into the final 2 minutes. Tennessee scores, gets the onside kick, and then scores again to steal the thunder. But we bounce back. We win every single game after that. Play Syracuse in a nail-biter. We win by 1. Syracuse, led by Kyle McCord, was a great challenge for us at Carter Finley Stadium. But we were victorious in that game. Noah Rogers had a great game, 7 for 122 and the touchdown. Beat Stanford, beat Duke, go to Georgia Tech and Carolina, beat both of them. And then we played Clemson in the ACC championship game. Grayson McCall had a heck of a day, 362 and 4 touchdowns. Jordan Waters ran for over 100. And, of course, our guy Kevin Concepcion, 10 for 189 and the 2 touchdowns. In the postseason, including the ACC championship, Kevin Concepcion had 23 catches for 462 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I'll be honest, we probably could have used him a little bit more, especially in the national championship. He only had 3 catches for 72 in that game. But as we take a look, what a run it was in the college football playoff. Come up against Georgia. We were leading heading into the 4th, and then they scored 15 unanswered to go and win the national championship, 34-24. We really couldn't get anything going on the ground that day. Receivers played fairly well. Grayson McCall played fairly well. Threw for 286, 2 touchdowns, and 2 picks. As we take one final look at this Wolfpack roster, we are losing a lot of seniors in that backfield. Jordan Waters and Grayson McCall both graduate. We're going to start a new quarterback and a new running back next season. Anthony Belton graduates. but it looks like we're going to have some depth across that offensive line. We do lose Zeke Correll and Tim McKay. Ja'Carrius Peak is probably going to be the anchor for that offensive line next season. Travali Price looks to be the starter at right end. Brandon Cleveland at defensive tackle. We hope he progresses a lot. He's 83 overall as a junior. Caden Fordham is going to be the leader of that Wolfpack defense. He should progress a lot. Aiden White graduates, our stud cornerback. We have Brandon Sisse for potentially 2 more seasons. Kenshar Palmer and Zach Myers are both options at that free safety position. There goes Devin Boykin and Jahad Carter. Bishop Fitzgerald also graduates. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at Grayson McCall's season. 88 overall quarterback, threw for 4,600 yards. As we can see, multiple 300-yard games, a 5-touchdown game against Duke, 4 touchdowns against Clemson in the ACC championship game. What a year for this guy. He led our team, broke many records. We're going to miss him next year. Jordan Waters was a great running back. He had 262 carries on the season. And down the stretch, we really leaned on him a lot. You see, there were several 100-yard performances late in the season. We went through a stretch in the middle of the year where we kind of leaned on some other running backs, trying to reduce his wear and tear, especially with that new mechanic in the game. He was also very active in the pass game, caught a lot of passes for us. We're going to need a running back to fulfill that role next year. Kevin Concepcion, I mean, what else can we say other than this dude's the stud? First-team All-American, 100-yard performances almost every week. Some games he was shut down. We focused on some other guys. Some games we didn't need him. Multiple 100 yards, multiple touchdown games. What a year for this guy. Over 100 catches, 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns. And should I say we should expect even more next season? I want him to break every record there is to be broke at NC State. Noah Rogers, the talented redshirt freshman, 46 for 615 and 9 touchdowns. I'd take that line every day. If you told me that's what he'd have at the end of the season, I'd be happy with that. Almost 50 catches. You see he had the lone 100-yard game against Syracuse, and that was a close game for us, 37-36. If he doesn't put up that performance, we probably don't win that game. Luckily, he was there and made plays for us. Dakari Collins was our second leading receiver, 72 catches for 799. Another great year for this man. Struggled down the stretch, a couple solo catch games, but he was really strong for us early in the year. A few touchdowns here and there. Kevin Concepcion and Noah Rogers were our guys in the end zone. Justin Jolie, great season out of that tight end spot. You have a tight end catching 54 passes for 700 yards. That's a great year. I would like to see him get in the end zone a little bit more. We might need to look for him in the red zone, especially with a redshirt freshman quarterback. We want to have our safety valve, Justin Jolie, there ready to get it into the end zone for us. But now we take a look at the transfers. Travali Price and Wyatt Wright, both candidates to transfer. We don't want Price to transfer. We persuade him to stay. Seeing as how he's a starting defensive end for us, that would be a huge loss. Wyatt Wright, a backup left outside linebacker, cannot be persuaded, and he is going to transfer. Not a huge loss right there. We do have some guys in that linebacker core that we are able to keep, and some guys that we think we recruited that could come in and possibly contribute this year, but especially years down the road. We take a look at all our graduates. Red Hibbler is going to be one that was fun to watch. Davin Van was disruptive. Aiden White, Anthony Belton, both projected draft picks. We'll see who gets selected. Right here, Aiden White, 4th round, McCall and Belton both in the 5th, and Davin Van gets picked in the 7th. Pretty good draft for the Wolfpack, but as we progress through the years, I would like to see that number increase. Heading into offseason recruiting now, we have a fairly solid class right now. Randy Schultz is a 4-star tight end from Indiana, and we really want to bulk up that tight end room with Joe Lee graduating this year. Juice Vereen is still there, but those are our 2 main pass-catching threats in that tight end room. We want to continue to build that room up and have depth for when those guys graduate. Slade Brink was a 4-star center. Chip Schlegel is a 4-star defensive tackle. That's another position we need to build up some depth. Brandon Cleveland graduates this year, and we don't really have a big-time replacement for him. Hopefully Schlegel could commit to the pack and be that replacement. Brian Oliveira is another 4-star tight end, possession-style receiver out of Concord, North Carolina. He's 6'6", 225 pounds, so kind of a lightweight tight end, but he is tall, and he should be able to catch a lot of passes for us. Now we take a look at the transfer portal. We have some guys interested in the pack. We have Jalen Buckley right there out of Western Michigan, a 4-star halfback. We are losing Jordan Waters, so we're going to add him to our board along with Jordan Hall at left outside linebacker. Some other guys we're going to take a look at, consider. We have Johnson, cornerback out of App State. Taking a look at the 5-star transfers, Caleb Downs is transferring from Ohio State. I was hoping we'd have a chance for him, but he's not interested in the Pack. Ethan Johnson is the transfer from App State. He's from Huntersville. He's a zone tendency cornerback that we're going to offer a scholarship. We're going to try to send the house and see what we can figure out quickly. We're also going to go ahead and schedule a visit. No, we're not. We're going to wait. Jalen Buckley is a halfback, 4-star recruit from Western Michigan, 5'11", 210. He's a power back tendency, 91 carrying, 84 break tackle, only 87 speed. But we can make him our short yardage back and hopefully produce some tough yards for us. We are going to offer him a scholarship, see what he can do for us, see if we can get him to commit. He is ranked 39 nationally, so he does have some talent. And we're going to go ahead and schedule his visit for week 2. We're going to also send the house, see what we can figure out. Maybe we can convince him to join the Pack. Jordan Hall is a 3-star left outside linebacker. He is from Virginia. We're going to offer him a scholarship. And with a lot of these guys, we're going to have to move quickly. As we head to week 2, we get a couple of commits. Antonio Root, a D tackle, and Chip Schlegel, another defensive tackle, a 4-star, who should be able to come in and maybe not contribute this year, but provide depth and in the future develop and help us out in that room. Ben Kinder is a 3-star quarterback. We do have a quarterback committed, but I would like to build up some depth there with Grayson McCall graduating. We do have Ethan Rhodes on the roster, but we need to build depth and competition up in the quarterback room. There's Chip Schlegel, the 4-star D tackle, 76 block shedding, 90 strength, 84 tackle from that inside lineman spot. Slade Brink is that 4-star center from California. Obviously, we do not have proximity to home. We swayed a couple of these attributes to see if they would help. We're taking off a couple of things here, and we're going to try to hard sell him on some attributes that we match up with him. We're going to take a look. Championship contender, playing style, and pro potential are really the 3 that we look at, but we end up choosing program tradition. And I'm going to try something. We're going to try to soft sell in addition to hard selling. I don't know if it's going to work, but it's something we're going to try. We're currently in 2nd place behind Oregon. We have a long way to go in that battle. Looking good for Randy Schultz, battling Tennessee. Ethan Johnson, the 4-star transfer. We have a couple of things unlocked. We're going to go ahead and schedule his visit. As we move to the next week, Brian Oliveira, we get a 4-star tight end commit. That's the only one of that week. As we're halfway through the offseason recruiting, let's take a look at the classes as we see Akeem Aguayo from earlier in the year in that Tennessee class. NC State is ranked 23rd in the nation, 6 4-stars, 15 3-stars, led by Urbic Abel Oliveira, as we have multiple 4-star commitments. This would be one of the better classes in recent years for the NC State Wolfpack. We need to continue to build on that if we want to make it back to the national championship game. We're going to go ahead and hard sell Ethan Johnson, even though we only have 2 of his attributes unlocked. But even with only 2, I'm going to use those bonuses to see if we can't get into that battle. Jordan Hall, the transfer, we're hard selling aspirational with him. Devin Grannon's a cornerback I added late. He's a slot tendency, 6'4", 3-star transfer. He would be a junior. We have some things unlocked. We're going to go ahead and hard sell that to him. We're also going to DM him to see if we can figure out what that 3rd preference is. J.D. Lampley is another transfer, 3-star. Moore and Hall, all transfers. We're trying to build up the depth in these rooms as we get a commitment from quarterback Ben Kinder, right guard Marvin Flynn, a 3-star from New Jersey. We get a couple more commitments. Randy Schultz, the 4-star tight end. We have a couple 4-star tight ends. We also get the transfer Jordan Hall, J.D. Lampley, Aaron Hall in that defensive tackle room. A bunch of good news here for the Pack as we pick up 6 commitments in that week alone. That pushes our total commitments up to 27. Slade Brink, we are still in the running for. We're in 1st now, so it looks like hard selling and soft selling might have worked as we get a commitment heading into the last week. The 4-star center, as we graduate Zeke Correll. We also get a commitment from Terry Moore, the strong safety. We take a look at our class now. Marvin Flynn is that right guard. Ben Kinder is the backup quarterback in this class. Also some guys still on the board that we didn't really heavily recruit, but we kept on there just to see where they committed. Root, 3-star defensive tackle. Oliveira is one I'm excited for. Possession-style tight end, 6'6". Chip Schlegel, 6'2", 317. Slade Brink, 6'1", 296. Schultz, another 4-star vertical threat. Mentors, a right guard. Trahan, 3-star running back. Minor, the 3-star center. Levine, the 3-star kicker. Coco Rod, Ty Abel, Mike Urbick. These are all guys I think could very well contribute down the road. John Long is a 4-star wide receiver. That room is pretty crowded, but with a couple of years of development, I think he could contribute a lot. Joey Hammer, with a great name for a middle linebacker. Little, the left guard. Cashman, Zeman. Stephen Ballage is another one I'm really excited for. We do have C.J. Bailey as a redshirt freshman, so Stephen Ballage will be just a year behind him. But if C.J. Bailey struggles, we have Ballage there to push him. Ethan Johnson commits to Clemson. Buckley goes to Michigan. Grant goes to Rutgers. But we do get a few of the guys we were looking for. We end with 27 total commitments in this class. Georgia, of course, with the number 1 class in the country. 4 5-stars and 31 4-stars. What a class for them coming off the national championship. As we see Caleb Downs commits to Notre Dame, quickly scrolling by right there. But we take a look and we finish as the number 25 class in the country. We actually end up with 29 commitments, 8 4-stars and 21 3-stars. I would say that's a pretty successful class. And we're going to forget about the guys that we messed up on early in the year because I didn't know how to hard sell, Aguayo and Gibbs. But as we take a look at just the transfer class, NC State is 60th. We end up with 4 3-stars. But in terms of high school recruits, we finished as the number 22 class, which correlates to that 25 overall. As we take a look at our roster heading into year 2, C.J. Bailey is a 78. Kendrick Raphael, our best running back, at 80 overall with 89 speed. Smothers and Jaden Scott are 2 guys I'm excited for. I think Jaden Scott could produce some carries for us. Hollywood Smothers could be that scat back for us this year. Kevin Concepcion, Noah Rogers, Wesley Grimes, Dakari Collins highlight that wide receiver room. We might need to consider redshirting Terrell Anderson. Justin Jolie, 83 overall. Kyle Bandy is an 84 overall left tackle. So it's not a huge drop-off from Anthony Belton. Anthony Carter improves to an 85. Rylan Van, the redshirt junior center, is a 79. Kamen Smith up to an 81. And Jacarius Peak up to an 84. He is a redshirt junior. Isaiah Shirley looking like that starter on the left side. Travali Price up to an 85. Brandon Cleveland is up to an 88 overall. As we take a look at these linebackers, we see a lot of 80 overalls. This is a pretty deep room for us all across the board. Elijah Groves is actually our lowest rated right outside linebacker after having a great year for us. Some good improvement across the board from the secondary. Kenshar Palmer looks like a starter for us at that strong safety spot. Marvin Martin, Tamarcus Cooley, Zach Myers could all compete for a starting spot as a safety. And it looks like Caden Newcastle might actually be our best kicker. We head into transfers. We get Ethan Rhodes, Jeremy Tucker, Dante Daniels, all encouraged to transfer. We needed to get 9 guys off of this roster. Chaz Wallace is transferring again after transferring in from Colorado. Jacoby Baldwin, Owen Fair, backup punter. We only need 1. A lot of these guys are older guys who would not contribute. Samuel Rayner is a freshman. We're going to look at Nick Landa here, a tight end. That is a deep room, especially with 2 70-plus overall freshmen who are going to redshirt this season. Cannon Lewis, just to have a deep room. We're going to encourage him to transfer. Looking at our schedule now, we're going to open up with East Carolina. We're going to play Florida at home in a rematch of that playoff game. And we're going to travel to TCU, and we're also going to play UConn at home for our non-conference slate. We're ranked 4th in the preseason behind Ohio State, Clemson, and Georgia. I think we can climb those ranks, especially if we beat Florida early in the year. We don't have a challenge until we get into conference play outside of that Florida game. We are projected to win the ACC with Clemson and Boston College on our heels. California in 4th, Miami, SMU, Louisville. North Carolina down the board, and Virginia projected to finish last with Wake Forest just above them. We take one more look with the freshmen added. Stephen Ballage comes in as a 75 overall. That's pretty exciting, especially with C.J. Bailey only being a 78. Ballage does have 83 speed. We take a look at our freshman running backs. Not very impressive here. 67 and 65. They could progress, but right now they're not going to contribute. John Long, 97 speed, 75 overall, 6'1". When Wesley Grimes and Dakari Collins graduate, I think he could push for a starting spot outside. A lot of depth across that offensive line. We have several commitments. Our defensive ends look strong. Tackle looks strong. I'm really excited about this linebacking core. We're going to have to rotate some guys in, use that sub-linebacker package, and see if we can't produce some guys in that linebacker room to step up and be stars. We take a look at ECU. That's who we're going to open the year with. Jake Garcia is their quarterback, coming off a year in which he threw for almost 3,700 yards, 32 touchdowns, and just 11 interceptions. He also ran for 2 touchdowns. Marlon Gunn is their running back, 80 overall, 90 speed. 2-star recruit, but it looks like he played or could be a little bit better than a 2-star guy. Didn't play last season, didn't record a carry, so they're coming into this season without a running back who has recorded a carry. Chase Soule is their highest-rated receiver, 6'4", deep threat, had 894 yards and 7 touchdowns, 89 speed. They don't really have speed across the board that I think will push our secondary. We should be able to take care of business. They're 78 overall. We are playing them at a neutral site, which might encourage some ECU Pirate fans to travel for it, but I think the Wolfpack fans will still outnumber them. But that's it for today, guys. Sorry for the long wait. I'm excited for what year 2 holds. I'm excited to see what CJ Bailey does in his debut. I promise it won't be this long before the next episode. Stay tuned for week 1 against East Carolina, and I will see you guys later.